everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Tech Productions. Today I'm bankrupt once again by Jake and Austin.
What's going on, y'all?
Hello.
And today's matchup is Jake versus Austin. This actually happened, we're recording this about probably 4 to 5 days after the event, so we're going to do our best to kind of do the commentary on what we had time of playing this, so kind of bear with us as we go on. Today Jake is playing GT Goku, while Austin is playing the Unison Cooler. Guys, let's take it away.
I already told them this in the initial. Half of this is going to be me commentating, and half it's going to be remembering what happened in the game.
Yeah, it's been a little while since we have played this game, like Bancroft was talking about, but I've got a lot of knowledge on basically what my plan is against Cooler. I've played against this deck a lot at this point, so most of my plays are going to be trying to get around pieces of tech and defensive options that he has and try and secure a kill early on in the game.
And the Cooler plan pretty much is just play Unison Swing. That's how I play this deck, and that's pretty much, I think, how you should play this deck. I, like I've mentioned in a couple comments and on other videos, and how we just talked about right before recording, if I could replace the effects they have of hand control in this, I would. I think focusing hand control on Cooler isn't great. Like, the only time I want to try to go heavier into hand control is if I've seen they've used a lot of combo pieces and their hand's already down. Then I'll kind of focus a little more on ripping cards out of their hand. But I found it trying to hand control early on is a little rough with this deck.
Yeah, especially against GT, it's hard to make them discard enough to make it like worth your time almost.
Yeah, I think just in our local meta, because I fight a lot of yellow and I fight a lot of decks that just draw, and even decks that play blue, a lot of our blue players throw in the draw apes, so it doesn't matter. And also, all our entire games are best of one sideboards, so everyone always has Deborahs ready to put in. So I've generally not cared about hand control in this deck.
Yeah, I mean, it's there, it's part of the engine, but it's not really your game plan. Although, those 5-drop Zamasus are pretty good if you can establish one.
Yeah, it's mostly to establish so I have a constant attacker on the board, a constant threat. But against red, it's not a big. It doesn't help a whole lot against the Zamasu.
It's just going to go to the drop area.
Yeah. The main plan is literally just to turn cardboard sideways and hit hard with this deck, and that's why it's fun. That's why I really like it. It has an odd amount of pressure that when I first saw this deck, I didn't think it would. The GT also has a lot of pressure too, though. Like, it's rough.
Yeah, they both can apply a lot of pressure for not a lot of energy investment. GT goes wide and Cooler just kind of like replaces its Unison over and over. But either way, you're getting to make a lot of attacks early on in the game.
Yeah. Right here, I remember this. I remember not expecting this King Piccolo at all, and it really threw me for a loop there. Having to go out of 3 life, pretty scared at this point. Like, that was a lot on turn 2.
You not comboing out of that actually kind of scared me because I was like, there's no way he's going to let me put him from 5 to 3. And then when you did, I was like, okay, he's got more. So,
well, I saw the point of where you had combo to 25, and I'm not awakened, so I can't just toss Unisons for combo power. So in my head, I was like, I think I just take the hit, keep my hand size up, and just take the L for that one. And at the time, it felt right. Like I said, if you're not awakened when you have to defend that hard early on, it's rough because if your hand has Unisons, you can't pitch them. So
right. So I figured it was a good time to go in.
Yeah, and I had no energy open, so I couldn't like a Nice negate or anything, So that That was not fun.
Yeah, and I think one of the like offline, I've said a lot of like negative things about GT, but one of the strengths I think it has, excuse me, is a lot of the free defensive cards that you get. You have Yamcha, you have Wolfang, you have a lot of free blockers, testing the opposition. There's a lot of ways to defend while you're tapped out. And I wish some of the support pieces were a little bit stronger. Because if they were, we'd have I think a more aggressive deck that could defend itself while completely expended on energy.
I think what we talked about this and discussed before is that the lack of strikes in the deck is what's rough for a lot of pressure. You have a lot of single attacks, that can go like a big number, but you don't have anything that's like a double strike or like a triple strike, like a big threat like that. And triple attack is a huge threat, but I feel like triple attack is mostly a huge threat when you have like 1 life left or 2 life left.
Yeah, the difference in double strike and dual attack and things like that really comes down to like how easy is it for your opponent to stop each individual attack, and especially in green, that answer is usually pretty easy, and that kind of makes the double strike, triple strike more valuable when playing against defensive colors like green and yellow, I think. Although dual attack is traditionally really strong against yellow, but basically my point is that I totally agree that when you're playing against a more defensive color, you need those double strikes more than you need things like dual attack, triple attack.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things, people saw a lot of success with that Bardock Overrealm, the fighting against Fate, because you would overwhelm when they had 1 life left and swing twice.
Right.
I think some people became preferential to dual attack for that reason, like kind of like a rose-colored glasses kind of thing now. But I say that, but then again, this Golden Freeze is also a dual attack consistently, and it's always a threat. So I think it's just basically how versatile and how strong is that threat. Because the scariest thing to me in GT is that you can play. Does the big boy have unique on him?
No, you can play multiple copies.
So yeah, you can in one turn you can play one from underneath and then also Spirit Boost another one.
Right. So you're not going to get triple attack on both of them, but a 30k body or 35, I think it might be. For free is not bad at all.
No, and that's just terrifying itself, because say if you wanted to I still don't know how that skill in the leader works, but the one where you Spirit Boost and play it,
you have to Spirit Boost 10 and it comes from your hand.
Okay.
So you can't play one from underneath the Unison.
Okay. And I think right here in the middle of this, like the match, I think right here that kind of hurt me getting rid of that double strike crit.
Yeah, that was very strong charismatic here.
Yeah, I kept that in hand. I didn't know what you had coming. I was kind of scared of Fearless Pan, honestly. That is something, while you do have Dormant to deal with that. If you don't Dormant early against the Fearless Pan, like, I think it's a big threat in this deck.
Yeah, too many double strikes get in.
I felt like,
yeah,
I may be wrong on this one, but I felt like that was intentional over early on. Instead of it, I think watching it, you didn't pay any energy, you didn't play any cards. You went straight into the overwhelm.
Right.
And so I kind of took it that you were baiting the Charismatic. That way you could play whatever you want from here on out without having to worry about a counterplay.
My thought was more, I would have liked to get the double strike crit swing in, of course, but my thought was more, just try and limit his options while spending the least amount of energy possible, and just kind of react to his play line from there. Because at 3 life, that Frieza is just a constant threat. He can play another one, wipe the board. A lot of the blockers in the deck don't have barrier, so they're not going to survive that board wipe. So basically, at this stage of the game, I'm just trying to play kind of reactively and see if I can force certain things out of his hand.
Have you thought about putting in that one Bardock that, like, if you have X amount of Saiyans, you get like plus 11k in crit?
The chain attack Bardock?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a couple copies. I don't. It's not that I don't like the card. I just didn't have them on me when I was playing this version of the deck.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know how many more iterations of this deck I'm going to explore, but that Chain Attack Bardock has been a popular card in the deck, and I think does add a lot against other battle card decks. But in a matchup like this, where your opponent is just beating you to death with Unisons, I don't know how much additional pressure it provides.
Yeah. I think one of the key things, too, in this deck is, my iteration when fighting against it is trying to bait the counter, or you see an opportunity where you're trying to force me to expend energy to where I need to defend, or if I'm trying to be more offensive. And I think the best way to deal with the counter in this deck is to read the energy. Like here, I'm fairly certain I don't have the counter secret rare in my hand. And I think my whole thought process was, do I want to play another 3-drop on your... I think what it was, I was so terrified of the big boy dropping down that I wanted to save 3 energy open for the big boy coming down. Because if you just swing once with that big boy, I can counterattack and then get rid of him.
Right. Which is another problem I have with GT overall. Its bomb, or the intended win condition in the archetype, doesn't really have any protections. I mean, it's got deflect, but outside of that, once it's on the table, it's pretty much free game to get removed by a lot of things that are in the meta right now. So, in the future, I'd like to see in aggro decks, maybe not the pieces on the lower on the chain, but bombs maybe having barrier or some kind of at least removal protection.
I think in a deck like this, you have to side in strategies of Universe 7 against Cooler.
Right. And I think the fact that you have to do that is kind of like, it's almost like the bomb in GT was designed for an older era, and like in an older era, that would be an incredibly strong card. Like 30k wipe the board, triple strike for 3 energy on turn 4. Like that's like height of mastery, like territory of oppressive, you know?
Yeah.
But nobody's playing height of mastery in yellow, and while that card is harder to cast, I think it's just overall that your bombs need protection. Like, Frieza's protected just from being a Unison. The new blue cell has barrier, I think. This Goku is actually a very good, like, bomb in this situation because he can't be removed on my turn, which I think is, like, a good solution for aggro decks. Like, you can't kill it as long as I'm attacking you with it, but if you survive and it comes back to you, you can remove it. I think this text should be used more often for top ends and aggro strategies.
I had forgotten that card. This is another. I remember this moment where I didn't expect that Goku. You think you've played it on me twice in this matchup, because we have played this matchup quite a bit. I think this is the second time I've seen that Goku. And me kind of being smooth brain and forgetting that I couldn't kill it on your turn put me in panic mode. I thought I had just messed up horribly here, and I'm so happy having a blocker right here I can use, because if I didn't have that, I don't know what else you can do. And at this point, like I said, I'm genuinely terrified. I'm at 1 life. I just remember this. I think this is the most pressure I have felt against this. And right here, I don't know why I didn't block. Like, I don't know why I didn't block.
Yeah, I mean, you have 2 super combos, and like my hand size is pretty small compared to yours at this point. I think you're just confident you could out combo whatever I out combo, and then you're gonna block like the Overrealm or whatever's coming next.
Maybe, yeah. I just don't understand what I was thinking here, if I'm just being honest. Like, it's been too long now. I don't know what my thought process was with this. I am just looking at this game state horrified.
I mean, if Jake happened to have a double strike in his hand at the time, when you did, because it doesn't necessarily stop the attack, but because it can't be affected by your opponent's skills, if I'm correct, that's how it's worded, he could have added and comboed up and may have taken you out with only 2 life left, too.
Yeah. That's what I was worried about, because he has played the East Kai on this.
Yeah, of course.
I'm more of a Champa man myself, but in this, I guess I still don't know what I'm thinking here, and I know Jake's just trying to get the one last swing in.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about this.
Going for the pan, yeah.
I remember this, yeah.
Cooler having the ability to activate Battle just to combo those off is so great compared to the Dripku deck, where if you get them stuck in your hand, and with that being shown, like,
he actually comboed out of this swing. That pan, actually, looking back, wasn't castable since he comboed off the Frieza. I should have just casted it before the swing, but either way, good on Austin. It just comes back to him, and he kills me with the triple strike on Frieza. There's nothing left in my hand. So
you had 4 cards on board.
Yeah, they were all in rest mode, though. I couldn't combo with them.
Oh, yes, yeah. I see what you're saying, yes. But yeah, unfortunately, he did combo out, and for that point, you were tapped out. You had nothing in your hand that could help you out in that situation, and that's unfortunately what happens sometimes.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
And with that being said, take the opportunity. Keep in mind, there's buttons down below and on the screen. Sure, I'll pass it off to someone.
Read your cards, know your plays, let us make mistakes so you don't have to, and fluff out.